Next we have Lisa Dowdall, who's playing viola for us today in the cantata. Hi Lisa.
Hiya.
Lisa, could you maybe start by introducing yourself and saying a little bit about what you do here in the Academy?
Well, my name is Lisa Dowdall. I play the viola. I teach the viola here, but I actually started studying here when I was 15.
Wow.
And that was, I had been playing the violin beforehand. I auditioned on the violin, got a place on viola, and I hate saying something like this, but it actually changed my life.
Okay.
I turned up to the Academy and I just straight away, I started really loving music, but I made so many friends and I was all of a sudden going on tours, playing, and yeah, it was just, it was like my life just exploded with fun and music and friends and everything like that. So I was here for 4 years, and then in September this year, just gone, I started teaching here, and it just feels like I've come home.
Very good. Congratulations. Welcome home.
Thank you.
So Lisa, I believe you studied this piece as well on your Leaving Cert.
I did, yes. I did study it for my Leaving Cert. The other pieces at the time were Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, one of my all-time favourite pieces, and also the Gerald Barry, the piano quartet, and the Bach. And for me, the Bohemian Rhapsody was so much fun. We used to sing it in school, and you know, the head banging bit comes up, and we're a lot like, you know, air guitar, and you know, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
And then the Gerald Barry, I absolutely love contemporary music, and I loved what he did in it. I was, you know, all the lines that are reversing, and you know, or just being a quaver apart in canon. I hadn't even thought of these kind of things happening before, and these really excited me. The Bach, for me, I hate to say it, but for me it just seemed so normal. It was normal classical music to me, you know, and it didn't really hit me until I think I was 23, and I was doing the St. John's Passion as a young professional, but still studying, and we really worked on it, so much so that everyone in the orchestra sang the chorales. We learnt the rhetoric, so when we had a repeat, we weren't just repeating the music, because the second time round it was maybe a question, or maybe it was it's something different was happening the second time round, but for us we were just playing the same part. But this is when I understood that no, it's not the same. And also the German words like the and all of these kind of things, I started putting them into my playing. So I would play something really harshly or something really softly, depending on what the words were, which really made a difference. And also, I had the tenor standing right behind me.
God love you.
It was amazing. It was Mark Padmore, who's amazing. So he was singing, and I was just playing the same line as him. I was just playing with Mark Padmore the same line. It was absolutely phenomenal. And that's when I started understanding the depth to this music. Before I always thought Bach was really religious, and he just wrote this music because he was really religious. He was really religious, but he was so intelligent. He was a genius. He didn't agree with God a lot of the time. I mean, the Black Death took his parents. They took a lot of his family. He lost his first wife. He lost quite a few of his children in infancy, and even after age. He had one of the toughest lives you can imagine. How can he understand? How can he reconcile God with all of these horrendous things? And this is what the cantatas and the passions, that's where he puts all of this anguish and still love for God. But there's just so much in there. It's nowhere near as bland as I thought it was. Now I understand there's everything is in this.
And it's something we talked about earlier on in the recording today, that, you know, for somebody listening to this in school, or, you know, just for pleasure listening to this work, that regardless of their own views of religion or music that has a religious character, something like this has such a dramatic appeal, and it's so human. It's so present in our lives. The emotions that go into this are not these lofty theological things. It's really quite present and relevant hundreds of years later to our human existence.
We still today, the things that Bach was going through, we have today. I mean, nothing has changed. We have loss, we have love, we have wars, we have these deep ideas. What is life about? What are we here for? And even if you don't you're not part of this religion or whatever, nearly everybody is thinking, quite often, I am anyway, what is the point, especially when something bad happens and this is where Bach puts all of these ideas, and and the real beauty comes when he's found maybe an answer or maybe an idea that can bring him back to loving God.
That he can reconcile that religion with the reality of his life.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And also something that you mentioned there, you weren't so enamored with the work when you encountered it first in school, but you've come to love it because of all of these reasons. I think that's very interesting. And particularly maybe for people who are currently in 5th or 6th year who are studying this work for exams, they might think, okay, well, it's not so interesting, I'm bored by this. But that there is a lot there, and there's so much to be taken away from this music and to be engaged with.
And discovered as well. I mean, people are still discovering what Bach has written. In the St. John's Passion, he uses the Viola d'amore, which is this phenomenal instrument. But he uses the Viola d'amore in an aria which is talking about rainbows. And there are 7 strings on the Viola d'amore, 7 colours in the rainbow. And also the way he's written it are in rainbows. So when you see the music, it's all rainbows, and there's all the symbolism that people are still finding and going, oh wow, I can see this now, and so there's still so much to be discovered.
Fantastic painting in the music.
Exactly.
Super. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, Lisa, can I just ask? I mean, do you have a particular favourite section of this work?
My favourite sections are actually the parts I'm not playing in. It's not because I'm not playing in them, but because these are the arias, and they're just so beautiful. And I love the recits. I love how he's worked the recits out with like the voice, the human voice, how we speak, or and trying to notate that with also the rhythm, digga digga dee, and the continual parts. I love this. So I can actually sit back and listen to my favourite parts, which I adore. But one thing I really love about playing Bach is he was a violist.
Yes.
He was also an organist. He played lots of instruments, but the viola was his favourite instrument. And he would quite often play the viola in the cantatas, and he would quite often lead from the viola part.
Wow. Because
it was his music, why wouldn't he? But also, I'm going to play my favourite instrument. So what he also did was he wrote what he wanted to play for the viola. So the viola has the most beautiful lines. We've got these, we've got the important parts. We've got all the harmony, the thirds, and we decide when we want to change from major to minor. And but it's just so beautifully written. I feel like I'm connected to Bach when I'm playing these lines, because I knew he played them and he wrote them for the viola, and when I'm playing them I'm thinking, wow, there's hundreds of years that separate us and countries that separate us, but right in this moment we're actually connected.
What a lovely thought.
Huge.
And Lisa, just before we finish, would you be able to suggest any more works of Bach's for people to listen to discover outside of the Leaving Cert course?
Yes, well, definitely the St. John's Passion is one of my favourite works. But non-religious, secular music, the Goldberg variations.
Yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I think it was used in one of the Hannibal movies or something.
Okay.
Just the theme.
Yes.
But actually they're called the Goldberg variations because, and I can't remember the count's name, but there was a count who had insomnia, and he had a pianist, and the poor pianist had to play every night for this count because he had insomnia. So Bach actually wrote these variations for Goldberg, the pianist, to play through, and they're absolutely stunning. It's just absolutely, it's one of the most beautiful things. And the person I would listen to is Glenn Gould.
Oh, yes.
It's basically his life work. And there's lots of recordings of him. There's some earlier ones and some later ones, and he's changed them. It doesn't mean that the earlier ones aren't as good. As you get older, you change, your heart rate changes, your ideas change, but they're all very relevant. But you can also hear him humming along.
Yes, absolutely.
He sings along. He's like, you just hear this like while playing, but it's just so lovely. We don't have that in recordings these days, that real human element. So quite often we take out the human element and it's just this, perfect recording. But with Glenn Gould, it's just absolutely phenomenal.
With those Glenn Gould recordings, I always feel like he's in a room playing,
Yeah.
and you're listening through a crack in the door
Yeah.
on his personal session.
No,
and you're eavesdropping on his work.
I think he stopped performing at one stage. He just didn't. He wasn't doing it for the accolades. This was a real personal thing for him.
Yes, absolutely.
Really personal. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank you very much.